Now to a Fox 23 investigation, a scam happening right now that could hurt you or your loved ones. It has to do with tricking you into investing your money.
Tulsa's investigative reporter Jana Clark found out what you need to know.
This scam targets seniors, and the scammers are using a romantic relationship to trick people into investing their money into something that's not real. It's not a real relationship, and it's not a real investment. Zulfikar Ramzan works for Aura, a consumer cybersecurity company. He told me that seniors need to be extra aware right now.
The numbers for elders being targeted online have gone up dramatically.
Ramzan says in the last year, we've seen an 11% increase in the number of crimes targeting the elderly and $3.4 billion in losses. The average person lost $34,000.
They get roped into it, and over time, don't even realize what's going on until it's far too late.
He says one of the biggest scams going right now is what you think is a romantic relationship that turns into a financial nightmare. What's a scenario that could happen?
Imagine like a debonair person, hanging out as a scammer on one of these romance sites. They'll engage with the victim. Over time, they'll drop hints to the victim that they're very, very wealthy. They'll talk about flying on their private jet, et cetera, et cetera. The victim gets intrigued and says, "How did you make your money?" And they'll say, "Hey, you know what? I invested in this cryptocurrency. I've made a ton of money. I can help you get set up. I'll help you. Give me a small amount of money and I'll get you all squared away." And then that small amount of money becomes bigger and bigger. And over time, it snowballs into potentially the entire life savings of the person who's been duped.
What kind of investments do they typically offer?
Nowadays, it's really predominantly cryptocurrency based. So they'll talk about a new cryptocurrency, or they'll talk about a new cryptocurrency exchange that will help the person make money. And these are very elaborate scams. It's not like they're just saying, "Give me your money," and they go away with it. They'll take the money, then they'll produce fake statements showing investment returns. So at this point, the victim thinks this must be legitimate. I'm getting statements. I'm able to cash out. This person who I've been talking to, have built this really wonderful relationship with, knows what they're doing. They're clearly wealthy, etc.
This is incredibly sad.
Yeah, it is awful. I mean, there are people who are looking for a partner in life or to engage in something they think the other person's interested in. Many cases, these scammers are very charismatic. You think that you found the love of your life, and unfortunately, that's not the case these days.
How do people protect themselves?
You have to do your homework on anybody you talk to. Just the fundamental assumption here is that just because they're somewhere on the internet does not mean that they are who they say they are. More often than not, they're not who they say they are.
What's the best way to check?
Doing a lot more background research on that person. If they refuse to appear on video, they're only engaging with you on text message and phone call, that's usually a bad sign. A lot of scammers will never engage on video, and they'll make up excuses. "Hey, my camera is broken." And then recognizing that as soon as you get asked about investments, it's almost always a bad sign if it's somebody you haven't engaged with or met in person by this point.
Keep in mind, many of these scammers are pros. They do this all day, every day, like a job, and they are good at tricking people.
These scammers are extremely good at what they do. They know just what to say. They're charming. They know how to pull at your heartstrings. And many of these victims really believe they're in a relationship with the scammer. And that relationship can last sometimes years before they realize something is amiss.
Ramzan told me if you fall victim to an investment scam, there's a very small window of opportunity to get your money back. He says you've got to realize it within 24 to 48 hours, and even then, it might be too late. Covering news that matters, Jana Clark, Fox 23 News.
If you fall for the scam, call your bank and try to get the transaction reversed. Like Jana said, you may only have a short amount of time to do so. The sooner you call, the better. You can also invest in identity theft monitoring.
Do you have a tip or issue that you think Jana Clark should investigate? Let us know. Email FOX23 Investigates at fox23.com or call 918-388-5354 or search Fox 23 Jana Clark on Facebook.